Hey everyone! So I'm making eye molds right now. The first thing I did was to use Sculpey clay, the same stuff that I used before when I made the other eyes. It takes about like 15 minutes in the oven. So I sculpted these eyes, a pair of 14mm, 12mm, and 10mm. And I was really careful to keep them all nice and neat. I put them in the oven for like 15 minutes, and then when they came out, I let them cool first, but then I used this fine sanding pad to sand away imperfections like my fingerprints that were on the sides. Because, I mean, obviously, once you make your mold, any imperfections that are on the outside of this clay will be transferred into the mold, and then anything you make out of that mold will have the imperfections. So I wanted to make sure everything was nice and smooth on the outside. So that sanding pad did very well for that. Now, that clear stuff that you see inside, that is not resin. That is actually water. The reason that I put water in there was to see if any of them were very uneven, if they were tilted to one side or the other. Because I wanted to make sure that I could make some nice domes with the resin when I was all done. So all of them seem to be working quite well, and the water drops are able to form nice domes without dripping out over the sides and onto the plate, which would be bad. So yeah, the next thing I'm going to do is take the water out of there and dry it out, and then I will show you how I'm going to make my mold. Alright, so I took the water out of the clay and made sure that it was all dry with a paper towel. Alright, this is the mold I'm going to be using. Amazing Mold Putty. And the steps are really simple, and it takes about 20 minutes, which is nice. I wanted to show you this. This is not the same thing. This is another type of mold you can make that's by the same company. And this is silicone. So it's very like rubbery, and it's really nice. But when you're making it, you have to, it's just like a liquid that you pour over whatever it is that you want to make the mold out of. And so you have to like secure whatever you're going to be making the mold out of, like by gluing it down or something, so that silicone can't get under it. And you also have to kind of build or make some sort of container to make the mold in, or else, you know, it'll just, the silicone will just, you know, flow away. Like for this one, I had to like cut the bottom of a cup or something, and it really smells. Not as bad as resin, but it still smells. And it takes a lot longer than 20 minutes. And because you just have to end up pouring it, I feel like you get a lot less control over what you're doing, and you have to use a lot more of it. And it's more expensive, for I think less. So, the silicone is very nice. It's, like I said, very malleable and stuff, but I really wanted to give this clay putty a try. And I mean, it's for making resin molds. I mean, resin among other things, but resin, soap, wax, any of that. And this is non-toxic, and it does not smell. So, I just wanted to mention why this is here, and another option that you do have if you want to use silicone. So anyways though, This is just generally what this putty looks like. It's just very, it's like almost like a little bit rubbery, but just pretty much like any other clay. It doesn't really like stick to your fingers like some clay does. But it's very, very easy to move, you know, it's not hard like some clays are at first. And both are exactly the same way. So what you need to do is make equal parts of this and then mix them together. And then once you mix those together, some sort of reaction starts and they harden up in 20 minutes. Alright, so as you can see, this and this are actually the 14mm eye and the 10mm eye molds. The clay is under there, and this is hardening at the moment. So this is the 12mm eye. This is the 2 equal parts of these two. I find it easiest to make them into balls, because I feel like when they're circular, I guess for me it's just easier to tell whether or not they're equal. You could also get a measuring spoon or something like that, but I think as long as it's pretty much the same, you're okay. So then you just take them and you mix them together. Not really complicated. Just mix them all together until you don't really see any like white streaks in the yellow. It would go faster if you were doing it with both hands probably, but I'm holding the phone. So it looks pretty good. You don't need a whole lot. I mean, just make sure you do have enough that, you know, no part is going to be too thin to where, you know, there might be, you know, places where it could rip when you remove the clay eye. So, this is pretty much what I'm going to be using for this. And that's how big it is compared to the eye. Now, when you're putting it onto the eye, they say to roll it on, which, as far as I can tell, means that they want you to just kind of press it over it, like that. I don't know what other ways there are to do it, but, and I guess you could put it in piece by piece, but they just, I think, want you to just put, like, one chunk and just kind of roll it on. So as best as I can tell, that's what they want. I'm just patting it down. I don't know if I need to really, but I just want to make sure it's, like, all in like, any little crevice and crease, because you don't want any, weird bumps or anything like that, inside, because obviously then whatever you cast will have some weird shapes. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it, and then I just leave them for 20 minutes, and then I will show you guys what that looks like. Hey guys, so it's been 20 minutes for these two. That one I'll have to wait a little bit longer. As you can see, I took this one out already, and it looks really great. So you can see that little like bump on the inside is the opening for the iris. So let me take this one out. So that's what it'll look like. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. Maybe not. There we go. Okay, so Sorry about that. So there it is. And I think it looks really well. So yeah, and I know it's like kind of like uneven around the sides right here. It kind of did go a little bit see that kind of like right here where it goes in a little bit, but it should still have this same shape. So it's really not going to matter if like the back is a little bit funky, because the main part is this part right here. So yeah, these are the eye molds, and that one has to go probably like another 10 minutes or something like that. And then I'll take that one out as well. So yeah, now I'm done with the clay eyes, so I no longer need these. But I'll probably keep them around, just in case if I mess up these molds at all, so that I can remake the molds if I need. And I think that's all. The next video, I'll show you guys how I'm going to go about making the resin eyes. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, so just really quickly I wanted to mention, I was taking the 12mm ones out, and I realized that an air bubble must have gotten caught in there, because the middle part, that little bump, is not perfectly circular. Part of it's missing. So that means that I'll have to scrap this, because if I used it, that middle opening, it wouldn't be perfectly round. So that's no good. So I just put another piece on of the putty, and I'm letting it sit. And also, another thing I wanted to do was mention why I made just one of each eye instead of making two. I figured instead of trying to make two eyes that are exactly the same, that it would be easier if I just made one of each, and then I could just make each mold at once, and then just make another one, so that both molds would be exactly the same. So yeah, but that's all. I hope it made sense. But yeah, thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.